Hello everybody, welcome back. It is me, your old pal Orpheus, with another adventure here on Orpheus Plays. We're playing Blade and Sorcery on the PC today, and today I want to talk to you about something kind of cool, an experience that not many of you have had these days, and that is Saturday morning cartoons. Yes, an old tradition that we had years ago, and I'm going to tell you all about that on today's video. Now, I hope you're doing well wherever you are, whether it is day or night, or you're about to grab a big, huge bowl of cereal and gorge yourself on it until you just feel all gross. That's something we'll get to in a second. Anyway, we are in survival mode today. That means 3 weapons come out, and I choose one, and I make everything very unhappy that comes through the door, and apparently they've decided I want this Guillaume, so, what is this? Nadziak. I don't want to hit someone in the nads just yet. We'll do, what is this, the Giam, oh, whatever. Let me turn up the headphones here so I can hear all the lovely blood squirts and everything. You will notice some extra sounds here. I have a audio overhaul, so that might make things a little bit more interesting with sound. Here we go with our first traditional slow motion kill of the day. She is pretty derpy. We're gonna touch tips here. Disarm you, lady. Aha! And you are gone. Woo! Alright, so with that out of the way. Alright, so it's a great day for murder here in Blade and Sorcery. And what I want to talk about, like I said, is Saturday morning cartoons. Yeah. Something that these days... I've discussed this phenomenon before. And this is like the whole waiting for things, right? So the example I used before was in another video, can't remember which one, was Christmas stuff. So like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Santa Claus is coming to town, and the Grinch Stole Christmas. Let me turn these down. That's too much blood. But you know, you used to have to wait a certain time of the year in order to get that, to get those videos. Ew. And so this is kind of the same thing, and it's Saturday morning cartoons. Now, they used to show all the cartoons that you have seen, kind of retro stuff, like Bugs Bunny and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, basically any kind of cartoon that came out of the 70s, 80s, 90s, right? Well, what we used to do, since we couldn't go on the internet and just watch anything we wanted most of the time, because there, was no internet. But we used to just wait around, and on Saturday morning, it was, day off of school. You get to sleep in a little bit. But those of us who were serious about Saturday morning cartoons would never sleep in, because everything started nice and early, like 6 a.m., right? Because they figured some people are going to be up at that time. But at that time, they were the older cartoons, so like Betty Boop and things like that. Ooh, gotcha. But like things like Betty Boop were always on really early. One of the other things that was on a lot was things like The Little Rascals or Shirley Temple, things like that. And that's because you go, oh my God, how old are you? Now calm down. I want you to think about 30 years ago, right? 30 years ago was the 90s, and, the cheesy stuff that happened in the 90s. It all seems very far away and distant. Oh, ew, but it's really not, okay? The thing is, it's not quite as distant as you think. Well, 30 years ago, in the 80s, was the 50s, all right? So in the 70s, 30 years ago, was in the 40s, right? So the stuff that was in the 40s... the Little Rascals and Shirley Temple and like Abbott and Costello and Laurel and Hardy and stuff. I have an appreciation for all of those shows because of Saturday morning cartoons. Sunday mornings they used to show some of it too, but mostly Saturday. Did I say Saturday? Sunday mornings they used to show some of that, but it was mostly just another rerun from Saturday. So yes, I've watched plenty of episodes of Little Rascals and of Shirley Temple dancing and singing around. Yes, I've seen most of those. Lots of Betty Boop and things like that. But then Saturday morning cartoons start 7 o'clock in the morning. Usually you got all the major ones, and Bugs Bunny and Looney Tunes was a big thing. They would start and they would run like an hour and a half, and then they'd switch to another one. And look, there was always a ritual that was involved, right? So we had to get up, and you had your PJs on, right? Of course, you get downstairs. Your parents are normally still sleeping at this point. This is a time when they get to sleep in, you know, they get to chill out. And there's not a lot of damage you can do on a Saturday morning at home, except cereal. So you'd go and get the biggest bowl you had, which, I mean, it was normally the bowl like you had popcorn in or something like that. It was like, you know, a big bowl, something like this, right? You'd go and you'd get your favorite cereal and you just fill the entire bowl. And then you go get like the whole gallon of milk and just right in there. You know, you got your milk and you're like, oh yeah. Then you grab a big ass spoon and you go and you sit in front of the TV. Splat. You sit in front of the TV and you just start watching. And you start watching. And these are cartoons, you know, like, again, these are as old as the Betty Boop and as the, you know, as old as the Shirley Temple and stuff like that. Because these were all ones that came out around 30s, 40s, 50s, right? A lot of war propaganda. We used to see the ones like Donald Duck saying Heil Hitler over and over again, or like the racism and the gender issues and everything. But the thing is, contextually, you got to look at it like in terms of culture, right? A lot of that was just, we knew what humor was, and we knew when things were, you know, none of what was in Bugs Bunny was like, you know, mean-spirited or cruel, right? That's just how it was. Like, they would tell some kind of racist jokes, or, you know, the popular one is Bugs Bunny always used to dress up as a girl bunny, and go ahead and, like, try to, you know, fool somebody or mess with them, or, you know, they always had the, was that the Barber of Seville, the one with Elmer Fudd and Bugs Bunny. And it's, you know, that you've seen it, all right? I know you've seen at least a clip of it. You know, Bugs putting him in the barber chair and cranking him out real high, putting the shaving cream all over his head and like shaving him completely bald. You know, stuff like that. That's stuff that we grew up with, and we loved it, right? Because it was all there really was for entertainment on a Saturday morning. You know, the other thing that you did on a Saturday normally was go out to a park or hang out with your friends in the woods or whatever, right? And so, you know, before all that, you're not going to go with your friends at 7 o'clock in the morning out to the park. So what you're going to do is watch cartoons till about 10. So there's that phenomenon right there. The thing that always was very cool was the commercials in between. So like ABC had one that it was a little cowboy, and they'd have all sorts of ones like this. They're called in the industry bumpers, okay? So they are the bumpers that go on either side of a show. So like, ew, you missed, it went right through my legs. Now you're screwed. My turn. So they're called bumpers. They were like the things that came on either end of the commercial. And a lot of the times it was, you know, for shows, like a primetime show, Seinfeld or whatever, it would be, you know, some sort of coming up, here's what's happening, right? News would do this a lot. Coming up after the break, we're going to be talking about blah, okay? And so these bumpers during Saturday morning cartoons were like just all sorts of bizarre stuff. If you've seen Skittles commercials lately, if you still watch any kind of TV, bam, take that. If you've seen Skittles commercials, that weirdness that's in those Skittles commercials kind of started with Saturday morning cartoons. Because, like I said, the cowboy one, you've probably seen it at some point. It's after these messages, we'll be right back, that kind of thing. Or just silly non sequitur, like out of nowhere, random stuff. And then the commercials. Oh my God, the commercials. This is where vendors would or companies would advertise directly to the children, because it was like they knew no parents were watching at that point. So it was always like, oh, hey kids, do you love that Transformers or that G.I. Joe show that you're watching? Well, you can get all of these toys. Tell your parents you need them. The other ones, though, that were always really good, and this is something that I think we're really missing these days, it is the kind of the lessons in things like civics and morality and everything like that, and they were held kind of during the, what was the, knowledge is power, remember? The knowledge is power! You may not have actually seen those live. If you're too young to know what Saturday morning cartoon experience was like, you may not have seen... you may not have seen some of those things. And there are things like, they would teach you about civics, right? About how a bill turns into a law, right? And that was always a clever little thing. I'm just a bill sitting up here on Capitol Hill. And they would teach you how, like, how the government worked and how to be a good person and how to like help you and how to help your friends and, you know, little lessons in history and stuff like that. And they're just... I think it's an experience that you don't get these days because broadcast television is pretty much dead. If you need entertainment, you go here on YouTube, you go and you sign up for one of the streaming services, you get like Crunchyroll if you want anime or so. Oh my god, this is ridiculous. What is this? A parade sword. Why? Because you need an entire parade of people to swing it? Holy crap. Anyway, so yeah, the experience of having, you know, the cartoons there, completely different because right now you want to watch the Looney Tunes. There's probably 3 live channels right now on YouTube that are showing live Looney Tunes. There's... Ooh, this thing is nasty. Take that. But, you know, you can go and watch them live. You can go watch, like, you know... documentaries on how they were started. You can go and binge watch. Yeah, you can go watch like 50 hours. Every single Looney Tune cartoon that was ever made, you can go look at. And it's just... It just kind of changes it. Because you'd sit around, if you have a sibling, right? You'd sit around with your brother or your sister. He or she would have, or they would have their own bowl of cereal. You'd kind of... Oh, you'd have a schedule too. So it's like you'd start with, the Looney Tunes is on ABC, and then we're gonna switch over to NBC for, I don't know, like G.I. Joe, and then we're gonna switch over to NBC or, you know, CBS for Darkwing Duck or for, you know, Tailspin or something like that, and you just, it was just this bonding moment, and then it was also something like, you know, you could talk to your friends about it when you got back to school on Sunday, or with your friends later on that day. Hey, did you see the latest episode of Gargoyles? You know, the Disney cartoon or whatever. Did you see the latest one of those? Or did you watch Gummy Bears this year or this weekend? Oh, you know, Gummy Bears, really popular one for us. The Smurfs, you know, things like that. But anyway, it was really a very cool experience. It was kind of communal, and you always felt like you were connected to your friends and stuff. These days, I think it's kind of different. You don't exactly get that same sort of camaraderie, I think, that comes from it. But the thing is, it was just so fun to be able to sit down, have a little, have a little, like, routine and a little bit of a, I don't know, it was just fun. It was a chance for you as a kid to unwind, relax, and it was your time. You know, it was genuinely your time, where you weren't staring at a tablet. Of course, you were staring at the TV, but that's different, you know. So leave your comment below. If you have experienced Saturday morning cartoons in any way, let me know in the comments below. Oh, bro, I'm so sorry. I'm going to leave you right there. Oh, that had to... Excuse me, Emperor. This is not how we do things on Orpheus Plays. So, yeah, leave a comment in the comments below if you have watched Saturday morning cartoons. If you're old enough that was a thing for you, let me know how you enjoyed that. And if you're not old enough, what does it sound like to you when I just explained all of that? How does that sound? Does that sound like it was, oh my god, that sounds so boring? Or does that sound cool to you? Like something that you would just love to do? You spend about 3-4 hours on a Saturday morning just chilling out and watching some cartoons, turning off your brain, eating some sugary cereal, and just enjoying yourself. Anyway, we will see you in the next one here on Orpheus Plays. Do good, be good, and you know what? Treat yourself well, because you absolutely deserve it. We'll see you in the next one. Bye!